Hello there, Harvir. Welcome to your final essay correction. I have to say, your writing has become considerably more clear since we started. I see your request in the email for a discussion of the next steps you need to take to ensure a Band 7. I will cover these at the end of the video. But first, let's have a read through and see if we even can make any improvements. So local corporations are being encouraged by their governments to relocate away from the city to rural areas. A perfect sentence. In this essay, I will discuss how this will mitigate pollution in metropolitan areas. I would take this away. In metropolitan areas, and here, because this not and this yet kind of confuse it slightly, I would change this to mitigate pollution in metropolitan areas, as well as the risks involved in the lack of vital services in these. We've already used rural areas, so that let's use something like outlying districts, or we could say rural zones. It's always good if you find yourself repeating a phrase in the same paragraph to think, how else could I say that? But the risks of a lack of vital services is better than services not provided. Firstly, companies, we can take away this capital, it's not necessary. Companies migrating away from the city will definitely reduce pollution by a significant degree or a significant margin. That would be a much more formal way to talk about the reduction, by a significant degree or by a significant margin. This is because it will direct the number of people driving cars away from urban districts, and as a result will reduce carbon emissions within the cities. Again, great. Khartoum's population rates, for example. Pollution rates, sorry. Khartoum's pollution rates, for example, were measured. If we're saying rates, we say were. If we say pollution rate, then we say was. Measured to be the lowest out of the majority of African cities after the government implemented campaigns to encourage companies to locate outside the city. Good. If these firms were to only be located in cities, I would say here, okay, no wait, there would be tremendous traffic, or let's say traffic congestion, or additional traffic. There would be tremendous additional traffic which would consequently increase pollution and its associated hazards. However, companies may suffer a lack of resources and services provided mainly in cities, but are less likely to be found outside these areas. This can result in difficulties, especially for businesses that rely on spare parts and maintenance services such as food factories. Let's try and clean this up a little bit, one sec. We can say this can cause difficulties for businesses that rely on regular deliveries. And then maybe a comma. Oh, actually no. This can cause difficulty for businesses that rely on regular deliveries of spare parts and consumable goods. So if a factory is producing something, it consumes materials in order to produce, and these are known as consumable goods. Such as in food production environments and factories featuring heavy-duty machinery. In addition, the cost of transportation is increased when delivering products to the target customers, since distributors mostly reside within cities. For example, Hewlett-Packard provides printers and computers for customers situated in cities. If they were to relocate to a more regional area, they would suffer the extra cost of transporting these goods to their customer base. Full stop. In conclusion, the relocation of companies to regional areas can reduce pollution, which is crucial for the betterment of quality of life. We need to talk about which direction, what we're doing to quality of life. However, these businesses may suffer a deficiency of services such as transportation of goods or maintenance in these areas. That's really good. You have responded to the question 100%. You've stuck to the rules of introduction. You've fully elaborated on your paragraphs. This particular essay, if you were to write it in the exam, would definitely score above a 7. If you can maintain this level of clarity, let me just double check if this is over the word count. Yep, 276. So this is a great answer. Very impressed. So this flowchart, they do feature quite regularly on the exam, actually. And these are a great opportunity for including plenty of lists. So let's have a go. The flowchart describes how 5 types of tea, white, green, oolong, black and scented, are produced from fresh tea leaves through a series of steps. We can, via is a good word to use here. If something is achieved through something else, we can say that it's achieved via these steps, and that's just VIA. Overall, 4 tea types are directly made from the tea leaves, except for scented tea, which requires either green, black or oolong tea as a raw material. Great. The leaves are first withered to produce green, oolong and black tea. I don't know whether this is slightly out of flow here. Maybe we could say primarily all leaves are first withered to produce green, oolong or black tea. So then, firstly, the fresh tea leaves are gathered to be sorted and cleaned. To produce white tea, the leaves are then steamed and dried. For green tea, cleaned, sorted leaves, there should be a comma here. The cleaned and sorted leaves, either one's good, comma or and, are sometimes left to wither to later be heated either by steam, fire or pan frying. I'm very impressed with your use of semicolons, by the way, in these essays. Very good. The leaves then are either rolled and shaved or dried with added jasmine to produce green tea. For oolong tea, the withered leaves are either shaken or rolled in a basket to bruise the edges of the leaves. The leaves are then fermented for a short period of time to then be pan-fried and dried. Let's change the form of the word. To then be pan-fried and dried. For black tea, the leaves are rolled in strips before being fermented. I'm not sure whether for a long duration is... Actually, let's leave it. Before being fermented for a long duration, to later then be fried. To produce scented tea, green, black or oolong tea is used. It kind of looks like a list including this. So maybe say, for the production of scented tea, and then the preposition before scented tea makes it clear that we're talking about the production of scented tea. Green, black or oolong tea is used. The selected tea, one of these teas is correct, but I would check, to be more precise, I would say the selected tea is dried, scented with flowers or fruits, and then cooled. But again, I'm happy that at the moment the level at which you're writing will score you above a 7. You produce very, very few errors. You write very clearly. Everything you're writing is relevant. You reason well, so you expand on ideas with reasoning and logic. If anything, I would just increase the use of collocations. But you've already got loads. Urban districts, carbon emissions. The word associated would be good. When we're talking about something and its hazards, we could say something and its associated hazards would just make that a much better sentence. But overall, I'm happy. I'll send you an extra set of essays. If you have the time, you can complete those as well. If not, don't worry about it. But just to make sure that I suppose that we can repeat these results, then it would be good to do another one. But overall, very, very impressed. Like I said, the only real thing that you could do is probably just study some additional collocations and try to take any suggestions for phrasings from this video that you think are useful. But other than that, Harvir, best of luck. I'll speak to you soon. If you do need anything else, by the way, feel free to email us. That's all good. Bye-bye for now, pal.